Okay, we're live and waiting for my pal Spike, my paisano. Yes, Pablo, we're going to talk about the lion hack, Gail Simone, and why we know that she's lying, why we know she either doesn't get writing or she's lying, and I'm betting on lying. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. It might be a fun ride. So we may we may learn something because after all, Spike, give her hell, mano. Yes, Canales, we will try. At least I will try. I'm sure Spike knows how to. Not he knows a lot more than I do. Not he gives clinics to writers. He teaches writers how to write. So I think he can teach her a thing or two, and all of us in the process too. So we may learn a few things while in the process. We may we may learn a few things. We're going to talk about how we know. First of all, how we know that she's wrong, and why do we believe that she's lying. We're going to do that. Just okay. Spike's here, all guys. Spike, can you hear me? Spike, dude, I can't hear you for shit. It's my headphones, the headset. I don't know. Okay, Spike's here, but he's not talking to me. Is he angry with me? I don't know. Okay, we're going to talk about Lion. Hello, nerdy Texan. How are you, man? We're going to be talking about Gail Simone and her lying ways, and how we know that she's friggin' lying. I have a short clip to show everybody to start this thing off, but I'm just waiting for my man Spike to be really ready. Since he's not talking, I'm guessing he's not ready yet. So please give me a few minutes. In the meantime, well, I know, no. In the meantime, I can shield my upcoming tabletop pen and paper RPG. You may have seen an image I shared. Green Warrior Games presents Cure. I can't hear you, man. I don't know if it's my headset or if it's your mic, but I can't hear you for shit. You can hear me? I can't hear you, and it doesn't even try to
No,
get. Oh, now I can hear you.
my the volume in my microphone was messed up, and I haven't even touched it. I don't know what happened.
Fucking Gail. She gave you gremlins for talking with her. Okay, do you want to see this short clip I have lined for us to get this started? Let me.
Sure.
It's a really, really, really short clip because we may get taken down otherwise. It's a short clip. It's from Agent Salt. You ready?
Cool. Let's go. I'm not sure, but I think it needs more volume.
It's all the volume I have, man. It's really, really up. It's the clip. It's not. It's not me. Nothing I can do unless I were to download it and
And
muck with
paste
it.
it.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I would have to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I people in the chat are saying they can't hear either.
They can't hear it. Oh
No.
well, I'm going to put the link then in the description. And let me tell you, she's talking how her husband, that was killed by the Russians, to try to make her go and kill someone, but they killed her husband anyway. And she's talking about how he always said his heart was a spider web, and she was the spider that lived there. Okay, so right here, right there, we have a an action movie with a female lead, Angelina Jolie. Not the first action movie she has made, not the first action movie where a male character has died to give her the motivation to do shit either. And the death of her husband in this movie is the catalyst, is the thing that makes her go off and kill all the Russian agents. You know, she becomes almost a superhero, almost a Punisher, if you will, killing people right and left. So, if killing a character in order to give another character motivation is wrong, it should be wrong always. It can't be because the one character is male and the other is female.
No, I understand your point, and there's two things to point out. The first one is that in her article from '99, the Women in Refrigerators one, she does say that she did write in that that also happened to male characters, but that it was it wasn't proportional. Which
No, it's not proportional. It happens to men a lot more than to women.
I can't say either way because I haven't looked into it. But in any case, I think these are fictional characters, and there's no reason why you should be complaining about a plot device that was used even in the first story known to man, the Epic of Gilgamesh. It
Yeah.
has Enkidu's death, which affects Gilgamesh.
Besides, if she's right and women get killed in fictional stories because society as a whole doesn't care about women, how come it's used as a way to justify things that maybe wouldn't be justified any other way. Remember, for instance, Death Wish.
The Charles
Okay.
Bronson film,
Yes, and the remake they made with the bald guy,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Yes, they killed her wife and rape his uh, his daughter. Okay, and then he goes and starts killing people right and left again. Why do we feel empathy for a killer?
Well, it's
Because
not necessarily because he's a killer. It's because of the revenge. It's because of the
exactly
situation.
because they killed people that are important to him, and we can empathize with it because we feel the need as a species. We feel the need to protect the women and the children. It's evolutionary. It's biology.
No, but I actually think that's not the argument we should be making because at the end of the day, we are not talking about an actual situation. This is fiction. And I
Yes,
think
but
everything in fiction should go like if you want to write the most like for example, there's this gore porn type of film
oh
called.
yes, I know. But as long as it's not real people getting killed, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, of course. That's what this is all about. For starters, they are treating this as these people actually existed,
Yes,
as if this was a commentary on
yes,
society. While it, for example, the Killing Joke is a commentary on the relationship between the Joker and Batman, and that's it. And both of those characters are fictional as well, so it doesn't really matter anyway. It's just fiction. And what she's doing from a writer's perspective, from my writer's perspective, is that she's taking something that is a very common plot device. She 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 wants to adhere to its specifics, which are not actually part of philology. Philology is the relationship between language and how it's constructed, and the implications of meaning and stuff.
yes.
In philology, we don't see characters even as there's no distinction for male characters or female characters. They are assumed to. I mean, in fiction, we deal with characters who are not even into a gender spectrum. It can be anything. It's fictional. So
Yeah,
we deal.
I know that many times the pitches even come that way. A dear person for this character is killed. Who? We don't know yet.
No, and we deal in abstractions because what writing is it's related to philosophy in that you are organizing ideas with the intention of creating an experience, an entertaining, meaningful, dramatic, artistic experience, whatever you want
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
It's a
you're right. Where I was going is how do I put it? There's a reason certain plots perpetuate themselves because they work, and they work because our psychology makes them work. That's where I was going. Not that creatively you can't write whatever, and
no,
if
no.
people don't want to watch it or read it, it's your problem, you know. But I was going for the other for. I brought you because you know a lot, a hell of a lot more than I do about writing. So I'm not going to talk about writing because I would let you talk about that, you know.
Okay,
So I was going for the psychological angle. This is why this kind of plot devices work. Not this is why they should exist. That's two different reasons, the angles there.
yeah, and it's not even it's it's not even like that. For example, people are, and this is a discussion I had like yesterday that went out of proportion. People misuse words all the time, and they think because they don't use them pragmatically. For example, when a person in the street says theory, they are usually referring to a hypothesis.
Yes,
And people say, "Oh, language evolves," and people, and that's not an actual argument because scientists didn't change their pragmatical application of a theory. People who actually use these words in a pragmatical sense do not change the meaning of the words. They actually still, in spite of everything, have to continue
yes,
to use them as they were meant to be used because they are part of a logical model that exists for a reason.
yes, exactly.
That's where philology comes in. So it doesn't matter if everyone in the world, which is almost true, misuses theory as a word. Scientists need to know what it actually means and how it actually works. Same thing with tropes.
Yes,
Tropes are now used as, some sort of synonym for
glitch.
cliche.
Yeah.
And cliche has already a word which means cliche. It is cliche. When we are talking about tropes, we are talking about literary devices like analogy or metaphor, the way you actually construct your message.
Yes.
So, trying to explain this to people who are in the business of writing, I think it would be embarrassing. I mean, you are working in a field that actually needs you to know what you're talking about,
I, I,
yet you
I,
haven't corrected this in 20 years.
that's why I am. That's why the title of the video. She's lying. She knows she's lying. She knows she's wrong, and yet she lies and perpetuates the lie because it worked. It got her work in the industry. It got her into the industry ahead of people that maybe were better than her or worse. Who knows?
The other thing is that there's this tweet, and it's pretty troublesome to me. And if I were a feminist, I would be enraged. She is so loud in open arms about the killing joke. Well, this tweet is actually not old, but she hasn't changed her position. Not new, but she hasn't changed her position. And the way it disparages the industry, it says like the industry doesn't care about women, but she's forgetting even the DC president at the time was a woman. It was Janet Kahn.
Exactly.
She was
Oh
president for
well,
DC
but
Comics
you
for a
know,
decade.
uh, any women, any woman that is not a feminist is sick. They have internalized misogynies. You know, that's what
And
they say. It's what that means. You have internalized racism. You have internalized misogyny. You're sick in the head. That's what they are saying. In order to invalidate your opinion, in order to dismiss you. That's what they need to do because their ideology doesn't hold water. It's not scientific because it's Marxist.
no, well, all ideologies are not scientific, to be honest. But the point is like, what I and this is a person I actually know. Uh, I've picked her off the airport. That time she was at the Mexican Comic Con. We went to
Yeah,
the pyramids together.
yeah. I saw
And a
you
week
tweeted
later,
about.
she was talking shit about me on my back because of some Twitter post that didn't even have to do anything with her. I mean, it was a post about there not being enough Black Widow toys or something, and I just posted for action figures of Black Widow with the legend "Learn to use Google" or something, and you know, her and Kelly Sue DeConnick just lost it about it.
And she's another piece of shit. You know, she's working in several pen and paper RPGs. You know,
No, I didn't know that.
yeah, they got her consulting in some of the companies. That's why I made the last video, and I was talking about that. They are everywhere, and it's the same people or friends of the people in the other industry. It's an invasion, and it's coordinated.
I don't think it's coordinated. I think it's generalized. I think it's more like a virus more than they actually have a plan. I
No,
don't think
dude,
they.
no, dude.
I don't even think they understand their ideology very well.
They don't understand their ideology, but they do understand that they want money. It's a business for them. It's not only about the ideology, because if they really cared about feminism, they would be talking against Saudi Arabia, for instance, and they don't. You know, so they don't. They look like zealots, but they are hypocrites. You
No,
know,
I actually think differently than that in this regard. But it's okay. We can have our
we can
differences.
disagree, of course.
Yeah, of course. I think they are more like a child who cries. They just know. They just know it works. They don't understand why it works. They have this approach to life, which is if I cry, I get stuff. I think that this is what happens with this, what I call the Varney generation, who grew up with all these participation trophies and all these policies that rot the mind, that kill the understanding of why meritocracy is what works in the real world. And I think these people are so used to getting their way because they were raised by uh, very accommodating parents, and the educational system in the United States, other than paying a lot for it at college level, has been very accommodating of these crybabies. So
Yes.
I think this is why these people react this way, in the sense that if I complain, if I complain and wherever I complain, I'm entitled to complain and to get my way. And
Well,
I
you're
think it's like
entitled to
like
complain.
it's mimetic like a religion. I mean,
Yeah.
because it works for this demographic, they think that's actually how the world works. Just like Catholicism or Buddhism or whatever works for the people who believe in it.
Yeah. What I meant is it's levels. You know, the people in the lower echelons of the religion do believe in it. Okay, I have nothing against Christians because of that, because I know they do believe in that. I'm against, for instance, the Pope, because I don't think he really believes in Christianity. For
Yeah,
him, it's a business.
I don't think so too. There's actually it's not even a secret that the Vatican scholars and stuff even validate some of the atheist claims about where the Bible comes from and stuff. And I'm sure some people have found they have found a way to monetize these ideologies.
Yeah, yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's coordinated in the upper echelons, not in the lower echelons. In the upper echelons, it's coordinated. There's people that are friends amongst themselves, and they are coordinating because they are working in all these industries. You watch, you search, and you're going to find them embedded in all of our hobbies. And they are, if not the same people, friends with the people in the other industry. You're going to find it. She
Um,
Matt Fraction, Amy Dalen, Kelly Sudeconic, Misspent Youth. I'm talking about the tabletop. Where was she? I can't find her. I can't find it. I saw her name in a book of an RPG. I don't remember which one. Okay, but she's working in one of these companies. I don't remember in which one, but she's here.
Well, I think nepotism also is in their best interest because if there's enough of them
Yes, exactly.
in the environment, they don't get as easily kicked out. For example, what happens
Exactly.
at Marvel as opposed to what happens at DC.
Yes, exactly. Because the other ones make a fuss. How do you fire a woman? How do you fire this and that?
And this has been known to happen to Gail Simone's career, in which even though a lot of people know wherever she goes, there, it's problematic how she addresses the costumers and how she's always involved in like scandals and stuff. And
And making problem for the company and her
yeah,
co-workers. Yeah.
even though that seems to happen a lot, they still hire her, and I think it's because they just don't want to. They are walking on eggshells, and they don't want to get be part of said scandals with all the fans. Which something happened yesterday, which was very funny. Because she went to a tweet. I said my tweet about Friggin replying
Yeah.
to Bounding into Comics' article, and a lot of white knighting ensued.
Yes.
And then it occurred to me, well, if all these people are supporting NC Mall, that's fine. I mean, do you buy comics? Did you buy the new Domino one? Can you post a photo with the new Domino one? Not a single one. Then I asked,
No, of
do
course
you
they don't.
have any Gail Simon comic books? In fact, I actually posted my Gail Simon comic books. I even have Gen 13 signed. I
Yes.
was the only person in that thread, and it was a thread. In fact, people are still replying to it, who actually posted a picture of a Gail Simon comic book, and she commented, "Oh, the photos, all the photos were uploaded like the day it came out and stuff." The funny thing is, most of those photos, if not all of them, because I could even wager those photos, most or maybe all of them came from Move the Needle and Comicsgate hashtags. People
Yes,
who
exactly.
actually bought them and reviewed them.
Yeah.
And I even know people who actually gave it a positive review. I'm not saying Gail Simone doesn't have fans or that there is not like nobody likes her. There's people who defend her. I mean, I think I've heard even Captain Cummings say that he enjoys some of her work, and that's perfectly fine. The thing is, her article that got her a job I think she started at Marvel. She was doing like the offshoot of Deadpool. That article is entirely wrong, misguided. It shows she doesn't understand a lot of what her job description actually requires. And
Yeah.
and I'm not even singling her out because yesterday I actually pointed out to the guy who writes X23 or something that like 75% of the American comic book industry doesn't even have any education in literature, while they are all pretending to sell us stories.
Yes.
And they, because there's this fansplaining thing now that, oh,
I'm
you
going to well explain to them, you know?
yeah, exactly, that explaining usually is very convincing at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes, that's what I've been doing for over 10 years with Spider-Man. While
Yeah.
explaining to Marvel. I can't find it's in a video I made about RPGs. If you go watch it,
No, but it's not. I mean, I don't think anyone doesn't think you are telling the truth. In fact, with what happens at Warhammer and the Magic the Gathering and stuff, entertainment has been
yes, co-opted.
effectively hijacked. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly. And why is entertainment hijacked? Because it's not it's not methodological necessarily, and people, you know, if people want to call crap art, they are entitled to consider it art.
yes,
There's no. at the end of the day, there is subjective value to it, and you can
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Check out
Well,
the Portland Mafia, Milfed
I'm
Criminal
against.
Masterminds
I'm
Incorporated.
against that term because I know for a fact
I
some of those
know,
names
I
are
know,
bullshit.
and I know some people are not in Portland, but check this out. Milfed Criminal Masterminds Incorporated is the production company of television and comic book writers Kelly Sue DeConnick and Matt Fraction, based in Portland, Oregon. That's why I was making the joke. Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So we know that's Kelly Sue and Matt Fraction. Okay, who
yeah.
else? Kitty Cox. I don't know what she does, but she works there. Wendy Klein, again. Lauren McCovin, Lauren Sankovic, and an intern sometimes. Okay, so any of these names, you find it in another industry, in another company, you know why. Because they helped them. Kelly Sue and Matt Fraction, they got into comics and then made friends in some place and pushed
Yeah,
someone there. And
actually, there's a story why they are in comics is because they befriended Warren Ellis on his
yeah,
forums.
yeah, that's what they do. That's what they do. All of this started to get speed exactly in the forums. They started saying we're fans too, we're fans too, we're fans too, and they started making small demands. Oh, don't say this, or don't say that, or don't use that word. And then they became the moderators, and they
But
started
here's the thing:
pushing everyone out.
I don't question their fans, but my question is, and this is actually proven in this very same in this very same live stream. Like, okay, you're a fan, so what? I don't have to accommodate you. Just like I, Spike, don't accommodate every opinion you have, Geekly,
Yeah, I know.
because we're different people.
I
It
have the
doesn't
right
mean,
to be wrong.
and me too, and it doesn't mean we I mean, there's no accommodating condition for us to be friends or for us to make YouTube videos or for us to share a hashtag or whatever.
We don't
But
even
some
agree
people,
politically.
exactly, but some people think it is necessary to accommodate these people, and I don't understand why. These people wouldn't have any power if you don't accommodate them in the first place.
Yes, yes, you don't have to. You what you have to do is write or create what two things: what you want and what sells. And the best thing is that you write or create what you want, and that what you want is what sells too.
Or you agree to write what editors told you at companies, because that's a thing too. But
Yes, yes, I know, but that's why I say it's the ideal that you
yes,
write what you want and what it sells.
yes,
And
but
if they
at this
are the
point,
same thing, better.
I think at least in three different industries, and the largest industry at that, video games, have
Yes.
proven these people don't actually, they are not active sectors of
They are
the.
not customers.
There are some customers, but they are not significant. Like, it doesn't matter what. It basically doesn't matter what political opinion you hold, because let's talk numbers. Grand Theft Auto, for example, SJWs hate it, and it's still the biggest fucking game in the whole fucking universe.
More recently, okay, more recently, what they tried to do to Bravra, the what's the name of his game?
To which one?
Kingdom Come.
Oh,
Daniel Bavra.
the Duke's Vault, yeah, the
Kingdom
Duke's Vault
Come.
controversy.
Yeah, yeah. They tried to drive him out of the industry. They tried to crash his game well before it was published, and they only managed to make it sell like pancakes.
Yeah, well,
So
well,
even if they were to buy games that they don't buy them, okay, but even if they were to buy some games, they are so few of them that do that they don't matter. I'm not saying you can't make a company to cater to them,
Yeah, no, I'm totally there.
but
There's
if
room
you
for anyone who is willing to pay.
yes, but if you do, you need to be aware that they are very, 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 very few of them that are going to even buy anything you make.
Yeah, I
Pirate
mean,
it, maybe. Buy it, I don't think so. And it's
uh,
not because they don't have the money.
I think not every one of them, but I mean, for example, why isn't Ghost World, Eight Ball, whatever, or Love and Rockets, best-selling book? I mean, I actually like those books. I own them, and these are books that deal with so-called people of color. We are just people, but anyway, and gay stuff and whatever. They are writtenly they are written well, and they are good. In their genre, they are very good books. Of
Yes,
course, they are not good superhero books, because superheroes are adventure books, and these are more of dramedies and stuff. So the thing is, these people don't even look into things. I mean, they need the
and
most popular. They need to make Spider-Man and SJW, because they cannot actually go read an actual, you know, comic that panders to their sensibilities. Like, for example, Sunstone, which is one of my favorite books right now.
that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. They want to conflate and make comics one single thing, and they make and they put their manga and manga. You have the gay manga
Yaoi.
yaoi, yeah. Main public women, main public women, main people that work in that kind of manga, women. Okay, and they like to add up everything and say, okay, women are 50%. Oh yes, if you see it like that, women are 50%, and they may be more even. But what do they buy? So
Well,
if you want to pander to that audience, you need to create something that they are going to buy. You can't make me buy 50 Shades of Grey.
actually, there's something funny about that claim that 50% of women are readers, and I actually noticed it because of an anti-SJW who thought this was true. It was Maddox. He made a video about that Milo Manara Spider Woman cover, and
Yeah.
he quoted this thing. Let me see if I can get the actual article.
Here's the thing, okay? Uh,
The
even
thing is,
even
how the methodology of how they got the number.
oh
Is
yeah,
The,
I
the
know. That's
number
what
the
I'm
number
saying.
was the number of likes in a Facebook page about comic books.
Oh no, 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 no. I'm not going in that way. That's why I'm saying yaoi manga. The main public, it's not gay men, it's women. I don't know why, but it's true. Okay, and manga sells like gangbusters. How many of that is yaoi? I don't know. Okay, slice of life. Women buy a lot of that too because slice of life it's kind of a soap opera and they like that. Men like other stuff mainly in average, not all, but in average, yes. Men like adventure and women like soap opera in average.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I understand what you're saying.
and,
Uh, th-
and, and they go and say, oh, 50% of people that watch TV are women. Okay, yes. So do they watch the same shit that I watch? No. Okay, so fuck you. That's what they don't do. They want to make one single market, and that's not true. It's not true either in video games. Yes, women are playing a lot of video games. What kind of video games are they playing? Casual, phone video games, mainly.
yeah,
And
no,
those are a lot of games and are a huge part of the market.
and there's something I don't I would need to make an actual study about, but it's difficult because otakus or weeaboos, we know them as otakus in Mexico,
Yes.
uh, don't actually know a lot about the thing they claim to know a lot about. I actually ran a site and we wanted people to write about manga and anime and stuff, and we couldn't find anyone that even knew more than I do, and I don't know anything. Like basic stuff. I know basic stuff. I read a Wizard magazine, and that's it.
Because they are the kind of fan that likes this book or these three books, and that's all. And it's okay, you can be that kind of fan, and I'm not against that. You don't need to get into the history.
Oh no, but I wanted to make a different point. Is that this they don't understand the difference between what a genre is and marketing is and stuff like that, because in literature there's not there's not no such thing as young adult genre. Young
Yeah, I
adult
know.
is like pop. It's a rack at the at the music the CD store, whatever, that has the most popular thing. Young adult basically is popular stuff that is coming out right now, because it can include like Harry Potter, and it can include like The Fault in Our Stars by George Green, which, and they have nothing in common, like
Yes,
nothing. One is an epic fantasy, and the other one is a drama.
yes, and you have urban fantasy, and you have a drama, and you have comedy, and you have action, all fall into young adult. Fuck you.
Yeah, and I think this was
If
born.
you tell me, if you tell me young adult is a market section, okay, yes, people between this age and this age like this kind of writing, more or less, and these people in this genre and this genre and this genre are catering to that market demographic. Okay, that's true. That doesn't make it a genre in literature.
No, yeah, that's exactly my point. Like they they don't understand that what they are talking about is marketing terms. These are not literary terms. These, I mean, there's no way to make a slice of life or uh, a young adult book. There's no actual theory. The body of data to how to make this shit, because it's not a genre. A genre is comedy, drama, tragedy. You know, I-
Yeah,
and they are there's another genre. It's not very known outside of the far east, which is what we call in Mexico the piece. Like Dostoevsky does a lot of pieces,
yeah,
but my point is they don't understand that it's not that we want to put a name, a label on things. In literature, things don't work like that, because they are internally logically constructed systems. Words are internally logically constructed systems, and they derive stuff. There's people saying that Gail Simone coined the trope of women in refrigerator.
no,
First and foremost,
she coined a cliche that doesn't that is not a cliche.
yeah, exactly, because you can't coin a trope. It's like saying you coined the number five.
No, you discover a trope. You can't find a trope that nobody else noted that was there and use it, and you can change it, and you can play with it, and you
Yeah,
can deconstruct it, but
exactly.
you don't
And,
create a trope.
and
Not
at
like
this
that.
point in literature, it's very unlikely you'll find a new one.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I know, because if you find a new one, more than likely it's two different ones that you don't know are there.
Yeah, and a lot of people tend to share their opinion about stuff they don't understand. Like, for example, uh, working at some movie, a producer told me that they wanted to make this story about this love affair and whatever, and they wanted to be not common. They wanted not to be in a story with with a beginning, middle, and end. They wanted more acts. And I say, well, if I manage to do that, I'll get a Nobel Prize in literature, because that's how stories work. And it's not
even
because someone
even
decided, because that's how stories work. It's, in fact, if you take a newspaper story, it has a beginning, a development, and how it concluded. It's how reality works. It's not in anyone's hands, really.
it's stupid people who novel that has 50 chapters
Oh,
and
you're cutting out very badly, dude.
do you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. It's stupid people picking up a novel that has 50 chapters and thinking that because of that it doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah,
They
people,
don't
people.
get it.
I mean, and it's nothing. It sounds like I hate novels, but I don't think people know that they are not like the pinnacle of writing. I mean, there's no pinnacle of writing that is the medium in which you present writing. Novels actually usually take less wit than short stories, because short stories demand you impress the reader in a short period of time, while novel can achieve all these um, ambient ambience effects because they are long.
Yes, you have to condense all the history, all the wump, all the all the meat.
Yeah, the punch.
Yes, in a much shorter story.
Yeah, that takes wit. I mean, for example, I really respect Charles Schultz. All those four-panel comic strips. I mean, there's very good comic book writers who I don't think could do that,
Yeah, and
including me.
Mafalda,
Oh, she has another name in English, but I don't
Kino.
remember what is.
I don't know if she is published in English.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
Kino
She's
Mafalda.
published.
I don't know, but another very good short strip that managed to convey a lot in 5 panels, sometimes or less.
Yeah, it all boils down to knowing how to use the medium you choose to use. And you can have very shitty novels like 50 Shades of Grey and impressively intelligent comics like Before Vendetta. And
Yeah,
you know the medium doesn't define the quality of the art.
no, 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 no. Of course not. But here's the thing: 50 Shades. Who made it a huge hit? Women,
Women, yeah,
both in print and in the movie.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't
That's
buy that shit ever. Just like I don't buy gore. How's the
yeah. It's horror, like
no the
torture porn.
no 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 no. It's Warlord of Mars, but it has a lot of women being slave and raped and
Oh, okay.
GOR. It's the name. It's a series of novels.
Oh,
I
I
know
thought
it
I
exists.
thought you meant gore, like
No,
gore.
no, 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 no. I don't remember the exact titles, but it's the world, the planet they are in is called that.
Okay.
GOR, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Canellos is saying gore, GOR by John Norman.
Yeah, that's him. Good stuff. I don't think so, man. I don't like it really. I really did. I tried to read it, but I didn't like it. Just like I didn't like Marquis, the Marquis of Sade. I
No,
didn't like it.
yeah. For example, I'm big with horror, but people hate the horror I like, because it's what I actually like is more of a technically literary stuff, like gothic romances, like the
Oh,
old movies and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and pulpy fiction, and you
I
know.
like that. I think it's better than a lot of the shit they are doing today because now they just got for the jump scare,
No, I know, and that's
in
what I
movies.
say. Like what I look in a movie, when I date a chick who says that they like horror and stuff, they usually assume like The Conjuring and shit. And when I show them, like, for example, the original Mummy, it's like, this is like a love story, and yeah, it's a gothic romance.
Yes, and the Swamp Thing,
Yeah, exactly.
Swamp Thing too, and Frankenstein too, and Dracula. It's the same thing.
Yeah, Frankenstein. It actually it's a it's science fiction, and it's a gothic horror, and it's.
And it's a
i-
romance, and it's new mythology too, because it's the Prometheus myth, and it's
yeah, it's a
the God given
deconstruction.
life.
It's a deconstruction of the monomyth as well.
Yes, yes too.
Yeah, it's a very complex book, actually.
Yes, and to think she got inspired in one night to write that. Fuck me.
Well, for example, I'm not saying I'm writing anything in that some sort of level, but I think my best story came to me when I was taking a shower once.
Well, inspiration comes at the strangest moments, my man.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't believe it. The places I got inspiration for some of my poems. You know.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very funny thing how
Yeah.
how, how the mind works.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but going back to the Simone thing, it's. I mean, I don't think she's intentionally bad. I think she is emotionally incontinent. I think she can't help herself.
Well, that might be true, but she's lying, and she knows she's lying. She has to know she's lying. Either that, or she never took literature 101.
I don't think she did. I think she was a hairdresser.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Before, I mean,
Oh,
as
fuck
far as I
me.
know, her career, she was doing some sort of comic strips at.
Uh,
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 I think it was Comic Book Resources back when it wasn't a popular site. It was
yes,
like
I
a
know.
blog or something. I think she was doing some like comic strips there, whatever, and she
Oh, fuck.
she was writing blogs and stuff. She was
But
in the blog
here's the
scene.
thing, okay? Back in the day when I was in high school, they made us read the classics in Spanish, of course, the Spanish classics, but they made us read them, and even some in secondary school. What do they call it back then in USA? Not high school, junior high.
In junior high, yeah, I think that's the
Yeah,
thing.
in junior high, they made us read the classics too. Some of them. Don't they do that in the USA?
I think so, but how do you actually know if you actually read it when you can just download you
Well,
know,
now, but could she when she was going to school? You know,
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're
I
right
don't know
there.
how old is she.
Yeah, she must be 40 or something.
Well, then she didn't download anything. So how did she pass the course?
Cliff's notes.
Fuck me. Yes, yes, you may be right. Yeah, you may be right about that.
No, I mean, I don't even. I'm not a big fan of her work, but I don't think it's Gabby Rivera work. I
Oh
think,
no, 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 no. I agree with you. No, no, she's way better than Gabby Rivera.
and I actually know how she just like blurred out fucking pitches that became comics, and they weren't actually that bad. But the thing is, it's the argument, or at least my argument, is not that Gail Simone sucks. I don't actually even need to go that far. I'm just saying you make this claim you can't back, and it actually shows you don't know what you're talking about, and you haven't corrected in 20 years. And she
Yeah.
was actually making fun of me because you have to take back, you don't know how these realities work. And I say, yeah, I didn't know, and now I know. And I'm
Dude.
not ashamed of being wrong. Like, I asked you, and I asked Ethan Van Skyver, and you both told me the same. So I believe
Yeah.
you were right. I actually, the first time I retweeted her saying I was wrong, she was right. I have no problem with being wrong. The problem is you are still wrong and you can't accept it, and you steer so much drama, cause so much division and scandals in comics,
Yeah,
and claim you're making, you are,
a better world for all.
not only that, but you have all these white knights and Twitter followers who can't actually prove they are part of the comic book
Of the
industry
industry.
as consumers, and it's not that they have to be, but they constantly give their opinion about an industry they aren't actually in or putting anything into, and
Yeah,
I don't think that's fair. And also about her opinions about, basically whatever, like she this tweet that she thinks everyone who was at DC was a misogynist when, the Killing Joke came out, and that
yeah.
includes the female president of DC at the time in the
And the
80s,
editors.
and the editors.
Yeah, because DC has had a long tradition of having female editors and writers and artists way, way back in time. Okay, Louise Simonson worked there for years. I don't know if she still does.
I don't know if she's active, but she even wrote like the most popular comic book known to man, which is The Death of Superman.
Yeah,
And Karen Berger founded Vertigo, and she was the one who hired like Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I know, man. I know. That's why I get so angry because all of these people. Oh, we now have women here. What? Where were you? You're lying or you're ignorant. Choose.
Yeah, yeah, it's a thing, and it's not like this was. I mean, she is a product of the '90s, and I'm a product of the '90s myself. Wizard magazine existed, but at that time, and it was popular. And if you were
Yes.
reading comics, you knew what Wizard magazine was, and you can go to Wizard magazine and realize, oh, which one is written by a Cuban female
Yeah.
or stuff like
And,
that.
and another thing, all of these people are really insular. They only know about American comic books. They know jack shit about the rest of the world. Okay?
And I don't even care if they are talking specifically about American comics, but they make such broad assumptions, and they assume comics are only read in America, and it's an American tradition. What?
That's why, yeah, that's why it bothers me because they only talk. They talk as if only in America, you know. And the real queen of comic books was a Mexican woman.
Yeah, yeah, and in the '50s, no less.
Yes, Yolanda Vargas Dulce, and she was known all over the world, and her work still gets published, still gets made movies and soap operas based
Yeah, I
on
mean,
her work.
I wouldn't recommend any of them, but they exist.
Okay, no, I'm not saying I like them,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
but she created an empire. She made an empire.
Yeah,
Okay,
she founded the largest comic book publisher in Latin America,
in the
which
world, I
which
think.
is for no, there. I mean, Panini is larger, but
Now, but was it back
oh,
in the day?
back then I don't know. I
Because
can't really
I
tell.
mean, she got the rights for DC, Marvel, for Image, all of the companies that were published in anywhere in Latin America. She got the rights. She was publishing her own books all over the world, not only in Latin America, in Japan, in the Philippines,
Yeah, yeah, they were popular there too.
in India, in China.
Basically, wherever there's a tradition of soap operas, it was based upon her work.
Yes, yes, mainly yes.
That's why Mexico is so linked to soap operas, but it's not because of the soap operas themselves. It's because the woman who made them comics, and then they were made soap operas.
Yes. And again, all of you read her comics, the ones that are soap operas. Okay, you read them, and they are chock full of the same tropes you find everywhere, and that's why people liked them. My grandma used to buy every week her books.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. I'm listening.
So it makes me angry and it makes me laugh when they speak about women in the comic book industry. Not even not only is a lie back there in the USA, it's a lie all over the world
Yeah.
because there were women making manga for a long time. There were women making comics there, here, in Spain, in France, in Italy. You know, once the medium was invented, there were women there. What kind of comics? That's the thing. Women mainly wrote romance, mainly. Not only, but mainly.
Yeah. Even the first commercial comic I know that I have found in my research, and I wrote an article for Comicase magazine about this, is it's a story called The Misadventures of Obadiah Oldbuck in English, and it was published in 1834 or something like that in Switzerland by a friend of Goethe, the guy who wrote Faust, who is the name of the friend. Let me remember. Is I don't remember the name of the guy, but his story was a Sturm und Drang type of story, which is basically a romantic, a German romantic story.
Yeah,
That's the actual, well, the one I have found to be the first both graphic novel and comic book.
yeah,
It's where it was it was a very big success of cartooning. Rudolf Toffer is a guy. He was a cartoonist from Switzerland, and it got success in Switzerland, and it actually got translated into English and shipped to New York directly.
you know. So, and they like to talk about how comics are an American invention, an American tradition, an American culture. Superhero comics, yes. Comics in general, no.
Yeah, there's even American comics predating superheroes like the Famous Funnies and stuff.
Yes, yes, and the horror stuff. The
No,
horror stuff,
that I don't think that was in comics at the time.
no.
No, the EC Comics and stuff was later.
I mean the crypt and all of that.
Yeah, all of that is later because
Yeah.
yeah, most comics before Action Comics were like cartoon animals and comedy and stuff like that, and
Oh,
you had some adventure comics like Prince Valiant or The Spirit or you know
okay.
yeah, horror came way after.
Oh, well, I
Because
learned.
horror, I think horror was, I mean, it would be logical because the Universal movies,
Yes,
but the Universal movies at the time, they were like the Titanic of their days. I mean, they weren't thought of as junk culture. They were thought of as, the prime, the prime entertainment. I mean, for example, Dracula, who the Dracula movie was made in three languages at the same time.
the thing is the people that think is trash don't know shit of what they are talking, because let's see, that Dracula, how many remakes have they made, and how many of those are really any good? Count Orlov is one.
You mean Nosferatu?
Yes. No, there's one. They are making a movie about a vampire, and the vampire is working in the movie.
Oh, Shadow of the Vampire, based on
Yes.
Nosferatu. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's an excellent movie actually.
Yes. It's Dracula, Nosferatu. It's the Shadow of the Vampire, and then the new Dracula they made with
Well,
who mthey made it?
they are mostly adaptations of the book, not actually the movie. But the movie, and this is how successful movies worked in the 30s. They didn't. The studios didn't produce them only for the American audience. They produced one in Spanish, one in German, and or French. I don't remember which one, and one in English because the market wasn't what we know them today. Because
Yes.
the how things. I mean, for example, the first film and the first in the Americas, the first film industry was Mexican, and it was brought by Porfirio Diaz.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
the first film made in America was him walking around, Paseo de la Reforma.
yes.
This was before the 20th century, actually.
Yes.
And
Yes. But everything was made in America first, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, in the USA, not in the continent.
Yeah, no, no, no. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, and that's the thing. Regarding junk culture, though, junk culture doesn't exactly mean it's thought of as trash, but it was called junk culture because, for example, the pulps were made cheaply.
Well,
So
yes, but not all of the pulps. They are in cheap materials, but
no,
not all of them are
that's what it
bad.
means. That's what it means. The culture that was produced in cheap materials, junk culture.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now I get it. Now I
Yeah,
get it.
like something you repeat. It's not like for example, a painting that there's just the only one original. It means like the mass produced in the cheaply available
Oh,
culture.
okay, okay. I get it. I get it now.
Yeah, it has lost its meaning, but that's where it started.
Yeah, because we would be so lucky to get some of the pulps that were written back then to get that quality. In,
No,
in,
the pulps that were written back then, but by people who didn't really give a fuck about about them, are now considered, pioneers. And for example, Lovecraft.
yes,
Lovecraft is the creator of modern horror in the sense that before Lovecraft, the world in which horror stories existed was a good world. It's like something bad happened in a nice world where
yes.
God exists at the end of the day.
And the good guys win.
Exactly, and basically what
And
Lovecraft
Lovecraft
did,
turned
he brought
everything.
nihilism to the horror
Yes,
genre. Like nothing matters, you're insignificant, the world doesn't care about you, and on top of that, you're the victim of a conspiracy of ancient gods
yes,
from outer space.
yes. And did you know that Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard said that the stuff they wrote was in the same universe?
Yeah, yeah. All
So,
the
so where is my Conan versus Cthulhu book?
the problem there is that you need the Conan license, but Cthulhu is public
No, you
domain.
don't need the Conan license. Conan is in the public domain.
I don't think so, is it?
Oh
Because
yes, no, no. Oh yes, he is. All of the short stories by Robert E. Howard are in the public domain. All of them. And the only actual novel that he wrote, that is the Horror of the Dragon, the last one, where he goes and rescues his bride in Kitai. I don't remember the name. In Asia,
that would actually explain a lot. Because I don't know if you know this, but
you
the
can
first,
find all of those novels, all of those works. You can find them in Project Gutenberg, that
yeah,
only publishes works in the public domain.
no, 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 no. I understand that, but it's funny because I don't know if you know this, but the first ever Conan comic book was Mexican.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. It was like a very cheaply made comic book, but it still exists. It was published in the early 60s, I think.
I don't know if back then it was already in the public domain.
Yeah, but
When
we're Mexicans.
Yes, yes, I know. Yes, I know that. But right now,
I think they were in the public domain because when they pitched stories to the pulp publishers were cutting expenses basically at all costs, and they didn't actually register, the brand, the even though these were works for hire, they didn't, you know, pay for the copyright and stuff. When you
oh,
work at Marvel, there's a whole department that copyrights the stuff for them, and
yes, I know, and the same goes for Warlord of Mars. All of the works by Rice Burroughs are in the public domain
Oh,
too.
he Paulo Costa says public is Conan is in the public domain except for in the USA. The Conan trademark is still controlled by Conan Properties Incorporated, which is a subsidiary of some media company whose name I forget.
The trademark, yes. The characters are not,
Yeah, it's it's
and the
it's
world
it's
is
tricky.
not. Yes, it's tricky, but you can take the Iborian age and make a work based on that, and you have no problem. And you can even use the character Conan is in the public domain. And
Because
and if it's not in the USA, fuck the USA. I publish in the rest of the world.
well,
You know,
there are disputes, for example, with what was it? Uh, there like I don't remember which popular character was it that it was technically in the public domain, but no one could ever use because of
the
some
design.
litigation.
Yes, I remember which one is the. I think is the shadow. The
The shadow,
character,
yeah,
yes,
something like that.
the character, and all of the novels are in the public domain. The problem is you can't make a drawing or a movie of the shadow because the likeness of the shadow is not on the public domain.
It's for example like the Fleischer Superman cartoon movie. Like that's public domain, but you cannot actually make a fucking story
Yes,
about
exactly.
those characters.
Exactly. Kind of like that. So you could write a novel about the shadow because the character is in the public domain, but you can't have the a drawing of the shadow anywhere in the book.
How does Dynamite does it though?
They buy
Oh,
the
they
rights.
licensed it. Okay, yeah.
Yes, yes, they buy the rights from the family, the people that own the rights
Oh,
of the
yeah,
shadow.
yeah. Kind of like what happens with the with
And the same goes
Frazetta stuff.
for yes, and the same goes for the rice burrows stuff. You can write about his worlds, but there's John Carter. I don't remember if it's John Carter or Warlord of Mars that you can't use one of those because that is not in the public domain.
I'm inclined to assume it's John Carter because that's how Disney named the movie, and I'm guessing they have the or they license it or something.
Maybe you may be right. Yes, yes, you may be right. But you can use the character and the world as long as you don't use if it's John Carter, as long as your work doesn't have the name John Carter in the title. Inside, you can use it. In the title, you can't. It's funny.
Yeah, it's like the whole Mr. Miracle, Marvel Man, Miracle Man thing.
Yes, yes, kind of like that. And there's a lot of characters out there in the public domain. A
Yeah.
lot of them waiting for someone with the vision and the luck to
Well,
make it happen.
they're not waiting for
Hey,
much because Dynamite.
speaking of that, why don't you make an Indiegogo for your book, man? So you can get
I was.
an artist.
Oh, no, I mean, I've been. The problem with artists is finding one that actually works. I actually have been talking to one, and we've talked about Indiegogo, and I was talking to the people at Antarctic Press.
Oh,
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, I have stories. That's not the problem. The problem is how to publish them, and it's all being worked out. I actually even thought of making a Patreon for a novel I want to write, which is, I think, my best story, and it's a novel because of the subject, not because it's novels are better, but I want to write like the biography of the devil, and I
oh,
think it would work best in with
in long
words,
format.
not like format, but in prose, because with prose, if you're talking about things you can't actually imagine, you can actually logically comprehend, and you try to draw it, I think it betrays your intention, because if you're talking about concepts like the time before time and stuff like that,
Yeah, yeah,
and then you tell a guy, now draw it. I mean, I can make the sentence, but do I understand the implications of drawing, you know mm, uh,
I get you, man. When I read the Exorcist, the novel, I got it from an uncle. He had it, and I took it behind his back because I was little, and I read the novel, and I couldn't get up from bed. I wanted to go pee, and I couldn't. I was scared shitless, you know. And when I watched the movie, it didn't scare me that much, you know.
well, it's sort of kind of like that. It's for example like the Lovecraft story, the color from another planet.
Oh yes, that's great.
How do you actually color that shit?
No, you can't. No,
Exactly,
you
we don't
can't.
know how that could be
You
colored.
can't. But whoever reads that has a picture in his mind.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing, because I'm dealing with concepts like God, and stuff like
Yes,
that. It would be too hard to actually structure and make it visual,
yes,
which is like the property of comics, and this is important too. Like, comics can do stuff that novels can't, but at the same time, that applies to every single medium that ever existed. Like, that's why they are separate mediums. They can do something specifically others can't.
yes, and that's why I think they never should have done. Um, the last Marvel movie.
Infinity War.
Yes, Infinity War can't be made in a movie.
Oh, but it's not the same story.
I know, but it's not the same story because the original story can't be made into a movie. Just like with Kingdom Come in DC, you can't make that shit in a movie with actors. You could make it in several movies, animated movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you were adapting the exact word by word thing, um, the thing to understand is something. Stories are not the medium. Like, a story exists besides the medium. A story is, for example, if I gave you the cliff notes of Watchmen, that's the story.
Yes,
The comic is how it's told in comic book form. The thing is, Watchmen, the story was mostly designed to work in comics and not anything else. That's
yes.
that's where it. But I don't think, for example, Infinity War or Kingdom Come have something that is not actually,
Not that the story
filmable.
can't be translated.
Yeah.
No, the sheer number of characters in it, and you need most of them to tell the story correctly.
No, yeah. I mean, the MCU. I mean, they have this pesky habit of naming their movies after comics, even though they have nothing to do with them.
Yes, exactly.
Which I don't mind, because I think of the MCU like another universe. It actually is its own universe.
Yes, it's his
Um,
own shit. I know.
yeah, yeah. I don't have like, I
Yes,
used to have a
Thor
problem
is
with it,
Thor
but
is now a feminist. I
what
saw a
in the movie?
I saw a clip. Yes, he's talking to Valkyrie, I believe.
But Valkyrie is not in Infinity War.
No, 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 no. In his movie.
Oh yeah, but his movie sucked.
Well, most of Marvel movies suck, man.
No, I actually
Really?
don't think so. I
No,
think they
yes,
are they
yes,
are
I do think
technically
so.
good.
They are made. No, 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 no. They are well made. Yes, but they are not made for the fans. They are made for the muggles, for the
No, no.
normies.
I
That's why they appeal to the
I think they
masses.
appeal to everyone, including the fans. That's I think their greatest success. I think it works for both.
No, no,
Yeah,
not
I
really.
actually most of the people I know in comics like them. Most of or like most of them.
Uh,
For example, I don't like Ant Man. I have a lot of problems with Ant Man as a movie and as an adaptation. But Winter Soldier is one of my favorite movies of all time,
aha,
easily.
yes. And how about all the jokes in the latest Thor movie?
No, I hate it. I hated it because
Why?
even in even if we take separately the MCU, the Thor movies were not like that, and the character was not like that. In fact, the character was written as if he was Star Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, because the entire movie is a Guardians of the Galaxy movie with the same structure. It's about this guy. It
Yes.
starts first scene. It starts with a guy looking for an old artifact, like a space Indiana Jones.
Oh,
How those Guardians of the Galaxy start? Same way. He puts on. He comes across with this band of ragtag outlaws or whatever, and puts on a space crew to fight the super fucking evil thing.
yes.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy again. And the previous movies, I don't think they're the best movies, but I was entertained by both of them.
The Thor movies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Talking alone about the Thor movies, I
Yes.
actually think
Yes. They were
Thor: The
well
Dark
made.
World is a very fun rom com.
They were well made. They were funny. They were entertaining, but they are not great movies. They
No,
are
I
not
mean
great superhero movies either.
Thor isn't, but the Captain America series is
The Captain
actually.
America, yes, is the only one. The Captain America and the first two Iron Man movies. I
Yeah,
would
the,
say
the third
in
one I
that
didn't
order.
like.
In that order. Okay, for me, in that order.
Yeah, I like Avengers a lot as well. The first one.
But
I
behind,
think Infinity War is a very good movie in spite of all the
I would say
production meddling.
on top, Captain America, Iron Man, and then Avengers
The second the second the Hulk with
with the
Edward Norton
Abomination.
I like. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that the end battle was too long, but other than that, I think everything was okay.
yes, it was well made. Yes,
I don't. I think they have more success than misses to this date. I think this is gonna change soon. This is my speculation.
yes,
But as far as I know, it's a very well managed franchise. And what I noticed is what what no Kevin Feige is doing is pretty much how refining how George Lucas handled Star Wars in the 70s. He I think he really studied that, because all the decisions he's made so far, if you look into the history of Star Wars and the history of the MCU, they come very close to how they are
you
approaching
know,
the
you may be
franchise.
right. I haven't. Up until you mention it, I haven't stopped to think about it. But you may be right. Yes, yes, you may be right in that respect. Yes, yes, I think so.
The only difference I see is that Marvel Studios went from being independent to sort of kind of independent to being corporate, while George Lucas went the other way. The first movie was a Fox movie, and the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi were independently
Yes,
made.
yes, and the thing is that I don't think they can keep on churning out movies and be that successful.
No, I think it's worse than that. I think they are fucking gonna shoot themselves in the foot like Star Wars.
Yes.
Uh, and this is not my wild speculation, but it's based on stuff Kevin Feige has actually said, how they have planned things. He has come out and say, Miss Marvel Captain Marvel is now the most powerful being in the fucking Marvel universe, and it's like, what? Why? She doesn't even have a movie, and
But
they are setting up her movie to be the climax of this Infinity War
they
thing.
are going to go, and hear me, okay? They are going to go the Ghostbusters way, and it's going to suck because of that.
I think it's gonna be worse. I think they are basically doing what they did in Marvel Comics with Civil War 2, and force feed you this fascist Carol Danvers who has to save the end of the day because she has a vagina and they think that she's like Wonder Woman.
Yes, yes. Marvel wants their Wonder Woman, and they can't make one for years. They have been trying for decades.
Yeah, the problem is their Wonder Woman is right now licensed by Fox, which is Storm.
Yes,
No,
yes.
and the thing,
If they knew, if they knew how to work Storm in the comics, Storm could be huge.
I think she is. I think the problem is they don't understand why she's huge, because
No, no, no.
it's
I
not that
mean
Storm
that they could
needs.
make a lot of money out of her. I mean,
Oh yeah, totally. The problem is they don't understand because they think that for a character to be good, it needs its own book. And Storm is great, not because she can have her own book. It's great because in the X-Men she leads and she inspires. She's the
yes,
Superman of the X-Men.
yes,
She's not even the Wonder Woman of the X-Men. She's the Superman of the X-Men.
yes, exactly, yes,
That's why she works so
yes.
well in the X-Men, and that's what, if you try to make an ongoing series, it
Name
loses part of the charm.
name a best leader of the X Men than her.
I mean, Cyclops might be a tactical genius, but he's not
No,
the
no,
inspirational thing.
he's not as good as a leader as her. He's not. Magneto, no.
Not even Charles Xavier.
Not even him, no. And the White Queen, Emma Frost, no.
I don't think they ever tried to make that work out.
She was the leader for a while.
Oh no, yeah, but it was because
Uh,
of need, not because of her actual
well, whatever, but she was. Who else was a leader of the X Men?
Kitty
Now
Pryde.
Kitty Pryde? Nope. Who else?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Storm not only gained her position the best way possible and through merit, she was already thought of as a goddess in Africa.
Yes,
And when she became the leader of the Morlocks, she actually taught them mercy. I mean,
yes,
like real quality. Like it's like you're talking about Winston Churchill or something.
yeah, yeah. And whoever made a fuss when she was wearing the holding the hammer.
Oh no,
Nobody said shit about it, but she wasn't Thor.
yeah, no, that's perfectly clear.
And they didn't try to make her into Thor. And now, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. They are making the changes in the Thor book. They are going to change all the lore in order to be a lot of Thors. They are going to make Thor like Green Lantern.
No, I mean,
Hear me out.
no. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying they already do that with everyone. Like how many Spider-Mans they are. I
Oh
even
no, no,
actually
no, no,
created
no.
one.
Yes, but I mean they are going to make a lot of hammers. That's their next. Everybody is.
No, but that already happened, my dude. That even started in what was the name of that crossover? Fear itself. That it was the point that these hammers come to Earth and
Oh
it's
yes,
a big
but
fucking
those
mess.
weren't the Thor's hammers. Those were other hammers. No, 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 no. These are going to be hammers that make you Thor. Just wait and see. I'm going to be right. You just wait and see. and they can go out and say, no, 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 how do you think? No, we're not going. No, yes, they are going to that way.
Holy shit! They are publishing. I don't know if you played The Wolf Among Us. The Wolf
No.
Among Us. Do you know this Vertigo comic book Fables?
Yes.
It's the prequel to Fables,
Oh.
and but it's not a comic. It's a video game, and then they made it a comic. It's one
Oh.
of those story comics. The video game is one of the best stories I've ever read. Well, seen or whatever played. Yeah. No, the video game is excellent, and now their season 2 is coming.
Oh.
It,
It's
it's
on PC.
yeah,
It's on PC or it's on.
it's on everything. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's by Telltale Games. They do the Batman story ones and the Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh.
and the Walking Dead and stuff.
Well, I'm going to go get the first one then.
Yeah, the first one you can buy at like I bought my copy on Steam sale like for $4 or something.
Yes. Yes. That's the great about Steam. Well, dude, I need to take my dog for a walk because he's about to
Yeah,
die.
no, no, yeah, of course. I actually have to eat something. I haven't even had lunch. I was doing work
Neither do
stuff.
I.
But yeah, it was good talking, and yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not about hating Gail Simone, but people
Oh,
should be
no, I don't hate her.
accountable for what they say, and it's like what Harlan Ellison says. I like his quote, but that uh, you are not entitled to your misinformed opinion. You're entitled to your informed opinion. No one is entitled to be ignorant.
Yes, exactly. You're wrong. You're right.
But it was a good talk, man. Great talking to you after all this
Yes.
time.
Yes. Same here. I feel the same, man.
See
Let's
you
see if
later,
we can
guys.
see you later. Bye.